Hello there, guys. This is Christy Lewis from Dostoevsky in Space, and today I'm going to be doing the end of the year tag by Ariel Bissett. I'm not sure if I've done this before, but I remember Jen doing it, and I just really wanted to do it, so here we go. So our first question is, are there any books that you started this year that you need to finish? Indeed, there are. There are two big chunkers that I've started and I have yet to finish. First is Wolf Hall, which I was loving this. But I put this down to finish, ironically, another chunker that I hadn't finished yet. And I finished that one plus another one. And so now I'm just like, okay, ready to start with this one again. I was loving it. I want to finish it. Hopefully by the end of the year I can, because I want to include it in my best of 2025 video. Because it's definitely going to be up there. Although, again, I'm only halfway through it, so what can I really say with any certainty? But I really was loving it. I can't wait to get back to it. I'm just a little nervous to get back to it because it's long and it's not like an easy read, but I find it very absorbing and just so excellently written. And then we have Villette, which I just started last month and I had to put down to finish some Patreon book clubs. But I have barely any commitments that I'm doing this month. So I'm hoping I can finish this as well by the end of the year. In case it makes it into my favorites of the year, I'm really enjoying it so far and excited to continue. So that is that. Next, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? So I've sort of been reading my autumnal book, and that is The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, which, I don't know, I really wanted a spooky book for October, and that's why I picked this up. There was actually a different book, The Woman in Black, that I really wanted to read, but that one's only available on ebook. So I picked up this one because it's on audiobook, and I didn't have time with all the Patreon things I was reading and Victober goals to actually read a book physically or like via ebook. It had to be an audiobook. So as you can see, I'm 90% into it. So I'm very close to done with this. And it does feel very autumnal. Anything kind of spooky does. But honestly, just large books in general feel kind of autumnal. So I feel like I had another one. Let me see what my answer was. Yeah, Dostoevsky and The Flood of Language. I don't really know how autumnal this is, but I'm definitely hoping to finish it by the end of the year. And Dostoevsky, he feels like a dark weather kind of moody type read. So this is obviously not by Dostoevsky, but it's an arc that I got several years ago and I never read, and I really want to. So I have managed to read one arc so far this year that I had from years ago. So I would like to do this one next. We'll see if I get to it. I have to finish some of these other big books. So honestly, if I could finish those big books that I have already started, I would be really happy with my reading year. So I just need to keep working on those. Next, is there any new release that you're still waiting for? So I'm not waiting for a new release, like in the sense that it hasn't come out yet, but I am waiting to read some new releases. Like I have them on hold / I haven't started yet because I'm in the middle of other things. So one of those is The Apothecary Diaries Volume 14. I'm so excited to jump back into this. It's cozy, it's funny, it's following a previous apothecary owner who is now working for a royal harem in China. I forget what century this is, but she is a riot. She is so funny. And there's like a whole arc that's been very subtly under the surface for most of this series, and I've liked it there. That's been a good place for it because I really just like the kind of spooky, fun, humorous vibes. It's like a cozy mystery series, but it's a manga series. But I am excited for this other thing to develop, this other subplot. Was that my phone? No. Okay. I have a fire alert on my phone and I get jumpy if I think I hear it. Is there a fire? Because there has been fires nearby and I had to like get up and go. But that's not very often. It's pretty rare actually. Okay, other new releases that I really want to get to and I haven't yet, but they just came out fairly recently. So one of them is Hostage by Eli Sharabi. I'm not sure which one. I'm guessing Eli because I've heard people say Eli Wiesel, and I think this man is an Israeli who was held hostage in Gaza. And so it's his story. And then I also have Boudica's Daughter by Elodie Harper. Elodie Harper wrote the Wolf Den trilogy, which is a series of historical fiction set on Pompeii. And you know what happens in that series. It's set on Pompeii. Need I say more? But it's about a bunch of women who are sold into sexual slavery and how they survived that. And it was like very like real about what sex work is like. And I thought it was really well done. It was very like hard edged, I would say, like lots of F words. And, you know, it was like definitely, I guess that doesn't bother me as much maybe as it used to. But it made sense, I guess, in this context. So I'm really looking forward to Boudica's Daughter. I feel like this is going to be pretty different from her previous series because I don't think Boudica was sold into sexual slavery, so it should be really different. But she writes really compelling, kind of high concept historical fiction. And that's what I need. I struggle with historical fiction. I really want to get into it because like I love Memoirs of a Geisha. I'm loving Wolf Hall. I loved the Wolf Den trilogy. So I'm hoping this will scratch that same itch for me. We'll see. I think that's all the releases. Yes. Okay. Next, what are 3 books that you want to read before the end of the year? Okay, so 3 books. I already mentioned some that I want to, but mainly it's like finished stuff that I've already started. That's like mainly what it is. However, I would also really like to read A Suitable Boy by Vikram Seth, which I don't think I'll be able to finish by the end of the year. But I do have Kindle Unlimited right now, and I don't normally, which enables me to immersion read this because I got a new Kindle, which I forgot to bring it back here and show you guys. But I've been wanting to read this for years, but I knew that without a digital copy, it would be really hard for me to finish it because it was really long. So, but I'm hoping that with the help of the digital copy, I'll at least be able to get started on it, and then I'll be able to finish it without the digital copy, which seems to be the case with like a really long book like this. A lot of times it's like the writing is pretty accessible to kind of balance out the fact that it's a brick. So hopefully we'll see. Probably not by the end of the year, but I really want to get started with this while I have Kindle Unlimited. Other things that I want to finish. Morte Durbin. I don't know how you pronounce it exactly. But this is a book that was recommended in Flannery O'Connor's reviews, which Victoria sent me for either birthday or Christmas a while ago, and I picked that up while I was on vacation. And she reviewed this author, and she really loved this author, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's still some of his books that are available. This is not the one that she reviewed, but she spoke so highly of him that I decided, okay, I want to try and read this one. Hopefully it's good. I don't know. I find that a lot of times the books that are still available from modern authors that are like, you know, people of faith recommended them in the past. I don't know. It seems like the books that are saved and read the most in our modern age are not the books that I connect with the most. Like, for example, Dorothy L. Sayers' most famous book is probably Gaudy Night. I think that's what it is. It's like sort of... It's part of the love arc in that series, and it's very feminist, and so people love it, and I'm like, that's not her best work, in my opinion. It was okay. But, like, everybody talks about that one and still reads it, and I'm like, it's just not the best one. I don't know. So, I don't know. We'll have to see if the books that are still available from him are the ones that, you know, if they kind of mirror what Flannery O'Connor had to say about him, or if it's more like, oh, this fits our modern ethic, so that's why we saved it, you know? So there's that one. And then Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany Jackson. This is a book that Whitney recommended. Whitney, if you're, she has a YouTube channel. I forget what it's called, but she's part of Tiffany's Patreon. And this was one of the books that she recommended for Tiffany's quarterly rave about your favorite books from this quarter Zoom. And this one sounded really good. So I really want to check it out. But we'll see, because I have kind of a lot of books that I want to finish by the end of the year. I probably have too many goals. What trends have you noticed in your reading this year? I'm sort of going backwards in my trends this year. I'm starting to be in the moods for classics again, and especially like big classics. That's great. I haven't been for like a couple years now. And so it's kind of exciting. I'm like finishing all these books that I started, and I don't know, it just feels really good. I'm hoping I can keep up the momentum and finish some of the other things that I started years ago. I'm going back to thinking about writing in stories in a way that I haven't in a lot of years. I was just sort of resting my brain for a lot of years from that style of thinking, but now I'm going back to it. I'm trying to be a little more intellectual about it, I guess, rather than just, this is how I feel about a book. I just want to give you my thoughts about a book, like separating those two, thoughts versus feels. I mean, it's okay to share how I feel about a book, obviously. I want you guys to know that's kind of what ratings are, right? That's how I feel about a book. But actually sharing thoughts that I had because of this book, or what I think this book is about, I feel like that's more valuable for you guys and for me. So I'm trying to work on that in my reading, which is partly, I think, why I'm going back to enjoying classics, because there is so much to chew on in classics. They have so much potential. But I'm also really enjoying some pacey genre fiction. Like on audio, I've always got something ridiculous. I just read like one of the selection books, which I never thought I would read. And I was like, oh, this is really fun. Like, it was like probably, I don't know, somewhere between 3 and 4 stars. It wasn't like changing my life, but I just was like, this is really fun. So I'm just enjoying some genre fiction, and that's great. It's really nice. So, okay. I also wasn't doing that for a long time. I wasn't enjoying genre fiction for a long time. So, how do you feel about your reading goals? Anything you want to change, adjust, or abandon? So, I guess mainly I'm actually really just happy that I'm finishing things. So I want to keep finishing things. That's kind of my trend, my goal that I would like to see happen. But I would also really love to pick up more philosophical nonfiction, like the heavier stuff, the stuff that I'm kind of afraid of, like Democracy in America. That's one of the chunkers that I started years ago, and I started doing a series on this channel about it. And I didn't finish it, and I really want to. But that being said, I am going to quit The History of the Russian Revolution by Leon Trotsky. That one is just going to take too much out of me to try and finish, I think. And it's just not worth it when there's other more accessible books on the topic available. So I have officially DNF'd The History of the Russian Revolution by Leon Trotsky. It took me a long time to decide, because it's not like there was no benefit to it. There absolutely was. It's just, for me, with my super slow pace, I just feel like that's one of those books where I'm just going to have to be okay reading parts of it and not all of it. And that's okay. I mean, you do that in college, right? That's part of learning. You cannot read everything that you're assigned in college. Sometimes you have to read excerpts, and that's fine. I would really also like to start reading more magazines and journals, which I've already started on this goal. Woo! So I'm reading fantasy and science fiction magazine right now because I have it on Kindle Unlimited. So I'm going to try and read a couple issues of that before I lose Kindle Unlimited. And it's good to be reading those again. I also got some collections of like the best science writing of the year and the best essays of the century and, stuff like that. So I want to read more of that short form stuff. because I think that's a good way to break into the market too and sort of refine your own opinions on things without spending years on it, because obviously you're not writing a whole book, you're just writing an essay, so you just have to know enough to do that. So it's more like I want to write this, so in order to write this I need to read a lot of the best of it so that I can get better at it. That's kind of my thought. Not that I'm trying to write sci-fi and fantasy right now, I'm not. Literally, that's just for enjoyment, reading sci-fi and fantasy. But okay, moving on. The last question, number 7. Have you already started making reading plans for next year? Of course! This is BookTube. Of course I have. I didn't actually pull up. I think I do have some reading plans set out for like middle grade March, and I don't know. If some of the other readathons happen, I do have plans for those. I am personally not going to be planning to host a lot of things in 2025. I'm still sort of feeling that out. But I think I need a break from hosting things. I am hosting one ongoing thing though, and that is the Tamara Pierce read along. That's going to be going for 6 more books. So that's going to keep happening into the new year, for at least I think 4 months. So that's exciting. We'll see how I feel after those 4 months, and then after maybe getting a break. I kind of do like to have something going on that I'm planning for. It's just something fun to look forward to. But I do just have like, oh, I would really like to read these things. I have discovered I do need a lot of time to myself. We've discovered this with my health, just how much time I need to recharge. After a year like we have had with my health, it's been pretty rough. I've just had to like drop a lot of things that I was doing, and I find value in those things. But for the moment, I just need more rest and more time alone. Not even necessarily rest, just like time alone. And relaxation. I need that too. So, yeah, that's kind of my 2026 plan, is do what I feel like without having strictures. I don't want a lot of assigned reading for 2026. I just want to pick up what I want to pick up and then talk about it to you guys if I feel like it. So yeah, that's okay. When life gets stressful, that's how we handle it. We adjust, and that's fine. There were some videos about this going around recently. How rather than just quitting BookTube, we should just adjust. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to adjust to make it work for me again. So that is it for this end of the year tag. Thank you guys so much for watching this. If you want to answer any of these questions, I would love to hear any of the answers. But yeah, what's your goal especially? I guess I would like to hear. What's your goal going forward, maybe for the end of the year, maybe going into 2026? Do you have any like things you've been thinking on and you're like, this is what sounds good to me? Yeah, let me know. Okay, bye.